Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Okay. What else, guys? What do you think? What else can be an issue? Do you? One more thing which Lohit has said, that if OS is gone, we'll have an availability issues. Like once the core OS where we have all the virtualization things that's gone, then we will lose the availability of the resources which you wanted to share on. Okay. Um, then there is one thing which I would like to drag your attention on. So if you work on virtualization, I'm not sure whether you have experienced it or not, but on a very big level of servers, when it goes down, or let's say you have to anyhow because your machine got to be an updated. Let's say an example, your current OS where your all hardware or virtualization has been implemented. Let's say that went for an update, okay, and you're going to update that. So if it's go for an update, sometimes um, can be required that you have to restart this operating system. So at that moment, you have to take care, because it's a production server and you have to take care of that. That is one of the other issue. And it's been completely observed that virtualization is like low cost after an implementation. During an implementation, you have to buy a good hardware, but after an implementation, it gives you a low cost. But it has been observed with my experience that if I have multiple machines and servers which has been hosted and been using, sometimes it's when it goes down, like I have to turn off any of the service for any of the reason. I've like closely observed that it takes time to come up, right? So if your one service goes down, and you have restarted the machine, so it actually takes a long run, or takes a time to come up to the system. So I think that is also one of the disadvantage when we talk about virtualization as a disadvantage. Okay, so we have advantages, we have disadvantages on using virtualization. um, but what do we have? um, we have advantages and we have disadvantages on, as I said, on virtualization. But how many differences and how many disadvantages we have is comparison to cloud computing. That's what we are going to look upon. And to understand that, we have to understand what is cloud computing first, right? So we'll understand that part first, that what is cloud computing, and then we'll come back to the virtualization and compare um, these two terms together. Okay.
Sure, Roshan. Yeah.
Okay. So what is cloud computing? Okay, so we'll try to explain that. So first of all, let me give you a very high level definition of cloud computing. Um, you can think of cloud computing as the delivery of on-demand computing services, from applications to storage and processing power. So typically over the internet, and on as you pay, sorry, pay as you go services. Okay, so pay as you go, that means whatever you consume, you will pay for that. Okay, so that's what the cloud computing is. But let's understand from a very lame term what cloud computing is and how does it looks like. Okay, so let's say this is you, who is thinking to open an organization where you just wanted to, or you wanted to open a startup. You have an idea in your mind and you wanted to go for a startup. Like I want to, um, I have worked enough in an IT sector, and what idea I have, I can, sorry, excuse me. So you can polish that idea, and you can accomplish more than what you are doing currently, right? So you had that idea, in your mind, and you're going to, you know, going to open the infrastructure, but you're limited with the budget in your pocket. And if you think about the cost, then you're thinking of how many people you need to deliver your idea, and then what infrastructure can cost you around. So you're thinking as like this is you, and you're thinking as the number of employees you have to onboard, and the infrastructure thing, how it's gonna impact you. Okay. So if you think of, I'm gonna compare on premises and cloud computing altogether, so that it becomes really flexible and easy to understand what cloud computing is. Okay. So this is you who's thinking of what should I do next, or what should you know ask me what will be the cost around. Okay. And you're limited with the budget, right? So you think of it, and you think of data security, you think of a lot of things altogether. But as you're there, you're thinking of opening a startup, which you think of infrastructure that can cost you a high with a set of employees which you wanted to onboard. Okay. Then you try to, before you um, try to compare, you wanted to look for uh, you you as a person is not able to decide whether you should go for on premises or cloud. And you know your budget already, the pocket size has already been in your mind. So you really wanted to know what should be the on-premise and cloud computing comparison, so that you know what type of cost uh, you're going to use, or what's the cost being hidden completely. Okay, so you made a separation between on-premises and cloud, and now you're comparing them. Okay, and as I said, cloud computing is basically nothing but delivery on demand computing service. Like if you want an application to storage, whatever you want, you can use that service. So delivery on demand, and everything is on the internet, and whatever you pay for as you use the service, right? So you pay as you go service. On the basis of that, you use cloud computing. So as being you know about cloud computing a bit more, so you would just want to compare with on-premise and cloud, so that everything is clear, and you use or you select a specific you know specific thing, whether you want to go on-premises or you want to go with the cloud. Okay. So you how does cloud computing work? We'll first compare then, and then we'll decide what and where should we go for. Okay. So on premises and cloud, there are two separate tables you made, and you start comparing or start analyzing and comparing them together. So first thing is scalability. You take the count of scalability, and you saw that if we talk about scalability, you need an infrastructure on premises. You needed space, right? You needed servers, you need networking wires, you need hardwares, then your instances, okay, the servers, and then the infrastructure. Then you need a hardware. If there is something has been failure, you need people around it, and so on. So you can have a scalability, but that comes with some cost and some failure as well. So if anything gets failed, it will take time to up those services, and you need people to contribute on them, right? And that's actually raise your cost. So there's a cost, okay, that actually raise your cost on premises. Let's compare it with cloud. Cloud gives you scalability. There's an option called auto scaling, which is like when your traffic goes up, it will automatically increase instances. When your traffic goes down, it will automatically decrease instances. You don't have to worry about the hardware's infrastructure and all that stuff, because it's going to completely taken care by the cloud vendors. And then if we talk about scalability, we have an auto scaling options in cloud, which actually makes sure that you have a proper traffic flowing in, and if your traffic increases, it's going to increase the number of instances to handle the traffic. And uptime is very fast, that every time if it's any services goes down, it will take within seconds, it will be up. So people will not see any latency issues when we compare it to the cloud. And there is no cost hidden into it. As I said, it's a as whatever service you use, you pay for that. On that basis, this goes in. So you don't have to worry about the hardware, you don't have to worry about the infrastructure, you don't have to worry about the scalability things. It's whatever the time it can take to come up, and it doesn't add any cost. It's, as I said, it's what you use, you pay for that. So one thing is that, and you compared both of the stuff and you believe that scalability is better on cloud, which as comparison to on premises, and you'll know your pocket size, so you don't want to spend a lot of money on this. So you think this is a better option than when we talk about scalability on on-premises.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Storage wise also, you need the maintenance of them. You need a space to have a good dedicated servers for yourself, and you need a faster internet services. So you need a better ISP provider. You need a good quality service with a higher amount of storage blocks, and then you need a people to maintain that, or you need a people to always make sure that these are up. So on the basis of server storage, this is going to cost you a bit high. When we talk about server storage on cloud, that's going to save you money because you don't have to worry about the storage things, because that's been be completely taken care by your vendors. That can be AWS, or can be Azure, it can be Google Cloud. So they're going to store all these uh, sorry, they're going to store all these services on their data centers, and you just have to use it, right? So it's going to cost you very less. For example, there is a service which AWS provides, that is called an S3 service. In S3 you can store up to 1 terabyte of data as free of cost for a 1 year. But after a year, even you are storing 1 terabyte of data, which is a huge data you want to store it on, then 1 terabyte of data will cost you around 3 rupees in a month. So that is what you can see as an advantage. So 3 rupees is very small amount of 1 terabyte of data. Okay, so that is a good stuff. So you have a good vendors around over here which gives you a good services, and you don't have to worry about the storage and all that. Okay, so on the basis of server storage, again, cloud saves your money. Okay, so this is a win on the cloud end. Then you start comparing with the data security stuff. Okay, so you start comparing the data security. Then again, you need a physical security first. All right, on the basis of sorry, on the basis of data security, you need a, when you are having a huge data, you need security. Physical security is required, right? You need a physical security, and you have to make sure that the confidentiality of the data has been completely encrypted. So you need an encryptions. Okay, you need a physical security and a complete secure infrastructure to make sure that your data is not being leaked, and have a good faith on your faith on your data security. On the other end, over here also, because you have a physical security, you have a complex infrastructure, and you need an encryptions on around on the infrastructure and on the applications. This is again going to cost you, because this is where you have a physical security. But on the data security part, encryption is up to you. You want to implement. There's our services which allows you to do the encryptions of the data, and that's again is going to cost you on the basis of what you use, and you pay for that. And you don't need physical security on this, right? So you don't need require a physical security, so physical security is completely eliminated. So on the basis of that, it is going to save you a little bit cost. Okay, so data security is being completely maintained on the cloud as well. But here, this is a topic where we can have a complete arguments, or we can have a chit chats on it. People believe, like if we talk about specifically for the term from the terms of banks, then they believe that their data is highly confidential. Sorry, their customers data is highly confidential. They have a PII information into that, and they really don't want to share with anyone else, right? They like on the basis of cloud. What's cloud? Cloud is just there. You don't have to worry of your infrastructure, and everything will be taken care by the data centers of the provider, cloud vendors, cloud providers. They're going to take care um, of your complete infrastructure, security, and all that stuff. Okay, so as I said, this topic over here is a chit chat topic. It's a kind of completely people can have an argument on that. Hey, according to some uh, people, they believe on premises. Like when we talk about banks, then definitely banks, they really don't want to share their information with any of the vendors. As I said, they have a customer's information into that. So they don't want to hamper that, and they really don't want to share it with anyone else. So they believe data security on premises is much more um, required from their point of view, because they think that the data is confidential and they don't want to share it with anyone. Like even on the AWS, they don't trust the clouds. That's why they keep it on themselves and they pay more on the services. But as I said, the scenario we have to think is of we are limited with the pocket, right? So we have to think of into that way. But yes, as per the data security things, if you really don't want to share your on-premises data with anyone, it can be a cloud or can be in anyone, then people think of using their own uh, premises things as comparison to on-premises, sorry, on cloud of the other vendor. But if we talk about data security stuff, then yes, we do have encryptions in cloud. We do have certificates. We do have complete cryptography, and we do have um, data securities at the rest, or when data has types, like when either it will be in use, it will be in move, or it will be in rest. So all these three types, your data security is being completely maintained by the cloud vendors. They provide you the options of encryptions. They give you an option. So it's up to you also that you want to use it, you don't want to use it. So it's a kind of shared responsibility, right? So when we talk about cloud vendors security, so it's a shared responsibility model. Okay, what the shared responsibility model stands, we'll talk about that with the coming up lectures and slides. But over here we have to understand that from the point of cost, data security would be much lesser and cheaper as comparison to your on premises. Okay, as we eliminate the physical security, and from the point of encryptions and all that, we do have that in cloud as well. Okay, then we compare the data loss. Okay, what will happen if we have a data loss? Let's suppose any incident has happened. It can be a natural incident, or it can be any incident, right? It can be a climatic issues, any earthquake came on. um, what is the procedure? Do we have any right, we do have any on premises, do we do have any recovery options or not, or so on, and how long or how efficiently the data will come back? So in case of data loss has happened on premises, there are chances or that there are chances that you lose your data because you didn't have a proper backups of them, or you don't have a retention sub period, or any policy issues, or any policies are not there which has made your data to be available always. That can be one issue. The other issue can be that you might have the policies, you might is taking the backups of the data on a regular period of time, but if natural disaster has happened and you lost your data centers, then it can take time to come up with the data, right? So on the case of cloud, even you have a data loss, you have a data recovery options, and that data recovery options will actually replicate your data on multiple servers, and that will make sure that even one data center has been crashed, then you will have a data recovery at very in a very little period of time. So if we talk about data loss, then again cloud computing has, again, you pay for what you use for. So you have that options of data recovery, and it is faster than comparison to your on premises. Okay, again the cost has been included when we talk about the data loss things on premises.
Hey viewers, our Master in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
And with these many advantages, I really can go for cloud computing. Okay, I will go for cloud computing. So you have decided that you're gonna go for cloud computing. So before you start working on cloud computing, definitely you would be thinking what services, which vendor, and all those stuff, and what is cloud computing, right? So you compare it and you selected a cloud computing, and then you decided what is cloud computing, okay? And how you compared and you concluded that it's gonna be different things which I will not be involved into. So you have over here how you are looking for the cloud computing and what is that, and you sorry, you discover that it's a delivery on demand computing service from application to storage, and it will be always over on the internet, and as I said, you will be using pay as you go services. Okay. And how does cloud computing work? Rather than owning their own computing infrastructure, as you can see on the picture, or data centers, companies or you can rent access to anything from application to storage from a cloud service provider. One of the benefit of using cloud computing services that you can avoid the upfront cost and complexity of owning and maintaining your IT infrastructure, and instead you can simply pay for what you use, okay, and when you use it. It actually turns provider of cloud computing service can take a benefit from a significant economical scale by delivering the same service to a wide range of customers. That's how they earn it. Okay. So what cloud computing services are available? Cloud computing services over a vast range of options provide you basic of storage, networking, processing power of natural language. They have AI and other stuffs. Okay. So so the thing is over here is you have different things, and why it's called a cloud computing. So one fundamental concept behind cloud computing is that the location of the service and many of the details such as the hardware, operating system on which it is running are largely irrelevant to the user. So you are not going to very much aware of what operating system, what hardware, what service, where's the location. It's with this in mind of your metaphor of the cloud was basically borrowed by different networking and telephone industries. They brought it up to the cloud computing. Okay, it was a term which was basically first around early on 20s, sorry 2000, was the concept called they come up with the computing as a service, which has been introduced, much longer far than 2000, but from the 2000s it's been very much in popular and people start using this term. Okay, so yeah, on cloud computing, as it says, and you can see on the diagram, is basically you don't have to worry about the location. Okay, you don't have to worry about the hardware and the operating system on which it is completely been running. So you're not going to take care of that, but you're going to consume the services which will actually cost you low and will fulfill your idea and the dream. Okay, then on the cloud computing we have two things over here. One is called deployment. We have a models on when we implement a cloud computing, we have a models on this, right? So what models we have? Okay, we have two models. One is called deployment model, the other is called service model when we talk about cloud computing. Then what deployment model we have three deployment model on this: public, private, and hybrid. Okay. So on the public cloud, you can think it of as a bus which has been shared with multiple users. Okay, and then let's say you want to go to office, right? On the screen you can see that that there's a person who want to go to the office. He has options. Sorry, he has options. He can go either by bus, he can go by his own car, or he can hire a taxi. Okay. So these are the deployment model also for the cloud computing. You can either, so in a bus, when he goes in a bus, he actually share information, or he actually sits with many other people who goes to the same office, right? So that's a public cloud. Like you have a public cloud, for example, you have AWS, Google, Azure. That is a public cloud where you sit in a bus and you share you have you all goes to the same destination. That's a public cloud.
Vasant, I have one question here.
Yeah.
So when you say the deployment model, public-private cloud, just my understanding, when you say public cloud, from public access, public internet, I can, deploy the code into the server. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
So private, whereas I know from the public network, I cannot access the cloud.
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Storage, you just want to have a networking, you just want to have a virtual service, where then you use infrastructure as a service model. So this is very attractive to companies that want to build application from the very ground up and want to control nearly all the elements by themselves. But it does require firms to have basically the technical skills to able to orchestrate service at that level, right? So might be you wanted to cut down your infrastructure cost and other parts, so you just need infrastructure services where you need storage, virtual servers, and networking stuff. That's infrastructure as a service, right? It speaks the words or the IaaS, the infrastructure as a service, speaks about itself. Like the word itself speaks about that. Oh, here might be I need only the infrastructure, not anything else. Then you have a platform as a service. Platform as a service is the next layer up, where you will be looking for storage, networking, and virtual servers. This will also include the tools and software that developers need to build application, right? On top of um, your middleware, database management, you can think of operating system and development tools. So that is what you use a platform as a service. So you along with storage, networking, and virtual servers, you'll also be looking for middleware, database management, operating system, and development tools in platform as a service. Then there is a software as a service mechanism, where the basically probably the version of cloud computing that most people use to on day-to-day basis. That's a software as a service. So the underlying hardware and operating system, which is basically irrelevant to as the end user, you'll have an access the service via web browser or app. So it is often bought on a per seat or per user basis. So it's basically in a software service. You go for you go for complete software as a service. So that's where a SaaS model comes into an action. So you have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So let's look upon to that. So over here, it will be giving you a complete description on it. So there's a, let's say, for the ease, it's been completely given. You have an on-premise model, and on-premises you have application, you have data, you have runtime, your middleware, you have OS, you have virtualization, you have servers, storage, networking, and everything is being maintained by you. Okay, you manage all the stuff. All right. So when you go for infrastructure as a service, what you do is you just manage application, data, runtime, middleware, OS. The other virtualization, server, storage, networking will be managed by your vendor, cloud vendor. Okay, so these services will be maintained by other managers, and that is where your IaaS comes into a picture, infrastructure as a service, where you don't go for the infrastructure, you just go for the infrastructure on the cloud. The other parts is being completely your application, data, runtime, middleware, and all other stuffs is been completely taken care by your on-premises engineering team. Okay, that's IaaS. Okay, infrastructure as a service. When we talk about PaaS, which is platform as a service, then on the first end, you just manage the application and data. The other steps like runtime, middleware, OS, virtualization, servers, storage, networking, these things will be completely maintained by your cloud vendor. Okay, so these are the things which will maintain. So you think it's as like on premises and compare it with over here. That's a PaaS, platform as a service. All right.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.